Hi, I'm Stan Goldstein with Kates-Boylston Publications. I'm happy to welcome as our guest today, Jamie Meredith, the Executive Vice President of C&J Financial. C&J is going to be the sponsor of what we call a white paper of the Leadership and Management series. It's upcoming that we ran. We did run it in 6 consecutive issues of American Funeral Director magazine last year. And we've had quite a few requests from our readers to have this series all in one place. We will be putting the 6-part series together as what I said we call a white paper. Basically, our readers will be able to go to our website and download it. All right, Jamie, so welcome and tell us a bit about C&J Financial and what the company has to offer.
Well, Stan, first off, thanks for having us on, man. We're proud to help sponsor the Leadership and Management white paper that you guys are putting on. I have the privilege of knowing hundreds of funeral directors throughout the country, maybe even thousands. And I've never met one, Stan, that actually said that the reason they got in the funeral profession was to take thousands of dollars from families that were going through the most difficult time of their life. But the financial side of the funeral business is obviously very important, or they won't be able to continue to serve their communities in their current capacity without the financial piece being in place. Many families that come into a funeral home often don't have a lot of money. Matter of fact, 58% of families that come into the funeral home have less than $5,000 in their bank account. 42% of Americans have less than $1,000 for an unexpected expense like a sudden death of a loved one. So it creates, the financial side of the funeral business creates challenges for both the funeral home owner and the family that's going through that loss. Fortunately, 6 out of 10 families own some type of life insurance. And many families would prefer to use their life insurance to pay for funeral expenses so that they can purchase the goods and services that they want to be able to honor their loved one. It gives them access to money that they wouldn't have otherwise. The challenge, though, is for funeral homes. If you've ever filed a life insurance claim, you know what I'm talking about. Life insurance companies aren't easy to deal with. It's a hassle to verify the coverage, to make sure that everything is there, that the policy can be used to cover the funeral expenses, make sure you got the correct beneficiary that can assign the benefits, make sure there's no loans or the policy's not encumbered in any way. And then once you get all of that verified, then you have to file the claim with the life insurance company, and funeral homes wait anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months to get paid. So life insurance is a fabulous tool for families to use to pay for funeral expenses, but a very bad payment method for funeral homes to accept, except when we step in the middle and kind of bridge that gap. And so what C&J does is allow families to be able to access those life insurance proceeds so that they can purchase the funeral services that they want and honor that loved one, while eliminating the challenges that the funeral homes have in processing those claims. We can usually fund an assignment within 24 hours of verification of benefits, eliminating the hassle, headache, and cash flow delay that funeral homes have so that they can focus on serving families instead of having to deal with insurance companies.
Excellent, excellent. And I was looking on your website. It says you began your funeral insurance career when you were just 20 years old. So tell me about that. Tell us about your background.
Well, Stan, I was one of those crazy kids that had no clue in the world what he wanted to do for a living or in life in general. And so when I was in high school, I made it through high school, was a good student, but had no clue what my future was going to be. And so instead of going to school and going into something that I didn't know what I was going to study, I decided to take a job right out of high school. And it landed me working at a wood putty factory in Pineville, Louisiana. And manufacturing wood putty is not the sexiest thing or the most fun thing, as you can imagine. Well, I have an older brother that's almost 13 years older than I am. And so Chris was going into the Air Force when I was going to kindergarten. So we didn't really grow up together. But one day we're at Dad's house at a family function, and he says, Dad tells me that you're not happy working at the factory. What are you going to do with your life? And I said, well, man, if I knew that, I wouldn't be working at the factory. And so he kind of chuckles a little bit, and he said, you need to sell final expense and prepaid funeral insurance. And I said, you're an absolute idiot. And he convinced me to take a day off of work. And when I say my life was changed forever, I took one single day is all it took, and I rode with my brother, and we went and visited appointments that day. And my passion for helping families provide a dignified funeral for their loved one was born that day, and I've never looked back. And it's been 27 years that I've been on the insurance side of the funeral industry. I've never sat across the table from a family and waited on them in that aspect. But in my career, we've literally helped hundreds of thousands of families pay for and provide for their loved ones' funeral expenses.
And I see you joined C&J Financial in 2005. What attracted you to join there? And tell us how you've grown with the company in what's that now, 18 years, I guess, close to 18 years.
Yeah, it's amazing. 18 years goes by in a blink of an eye, doesn't it? Especially when you get older. Actually, in early 2005, I was running a little small life insurance company in Mississippi called Southern Security Life. And Security National Life out of Utah approached me about heading up this new program that they had started called Fast Funding. And Fast Funding is processing and funding insurance assignments. And so we started Security National Fast Funding in 2005. And then a couple of years later, in 07, we ended up acquiring a little company out of Rainbow City, Alabama called C&J Financial. And C&J was a competitor of ours. And at the time, we had two very small companies, one that was basically a startup that had only been around a little less than 2 years. And then we had C&J Financial, who had been around the industry for about 10 years at that time. And so we merged the two companies together and kept the C&J Financial name. And so over the course of 18 years, we've grown that business to be the largest provider of insurance assignment funding in North America and worked with thousands of funeral homes. And over that time period, we funded more than 800,000 funerals and provided nearly $5.5 billion back to the funeral industry.
Wow. And all those years, I always like to ask this, is there always some sort of new technology that's right around the corner?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm not a tech guy. As you can probably already tell, technology is not my thing, but we all need it. And something new is always around the corner. You know, if you would have asked me 10 years ago or 15 years ago, probably, if our customers would be interacting with us online and be able to process their assignments through our online portal, I would have thought you were crazy. You know, and then fast forward to just a year ago when we released our new quick claim mobile app, where funeral directors literally in the palm of their hand can conduct all of their business with us and transactions through our mobile app. I would again thought you were crazy. And there's technology that we're working on every day. Right now, we're working on a system. It's not going to be customer facing as far as the funeral home is concerned, but more on the back end side with our insurance partners. We're testing a new program that we have with several large insurance carriers to improve the speed of our verifications so that we can get the fundings quicker to the funeral home. So that's some technology that we're working on. And then, of course, everybody knows about the AI stuff that's going on out there in the world. That's some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, some out there things that is just taking place. So yeah, to answer your question directly, there's always new technology around the corner. Now, what it's going to exactly look like, I have no idea, but we're always working on it. Thank God we've got a great team of technology folks and experts that help build those programs for us.
All right. And what interested C&J Financial in being a sponsor for this leadership and management white paper that will be coming out?
You know, when Mary reached out to us and kind of let us know, Stan, that you guys were going to be putting this leadership and management white paper out, to me, leadership matters in every area of life, right? Whether it's our home, whether it's our local communities, our state, or even our national government, we all, in particular in our businesses, we all rise or fall based on leadership. Good, bad, or ugly, leadership makes an impact in our lives. And so when the opportunity came up for C&J to be a sponsor of this, we had to jump on it because there's a group of young folks that are coming up, the next generation of leaders that are, you know, entering the space now or already in the profession that are going to be the ones to take us into the future. And anything that C&J can do to be a part of that, to help expand the industry, to help grow the profession in the direction that we need to go, we definitely wanted to be a part of that.
Okay. And you may have just answered some of this. My next question was, what are some of the things C&J Financial has found that are best practices for leadership and management?
You know, for me personally, Stan, not speaking for the company, but for me as a personal individual, you know, I look at leadership from a personal standpoint and people that I admire. And to me, one of the greatest leaders who ever walked the planet did so more than 2,000 years ago. And people are still following the principles that that man taught 2,000 years ago. And Jesus had no political influence. He was not a king. He was not a political leader, but he did something that was very unique from a leadership standpoint. And take the religious side out of it, whether you believe in his religious teachings or not. The way that he led people was incredible because he came at leadership from a servant's heart. He met people where they were at, inspired them and gave them hope, and raised them up and pushed them forward to where they needed to go. And true leadership, in my opinion, is exactly that. It's meeting an industry, it's meeting an individual, it's meeting a business. It's, you know, everything that we do in life involves people, right, Stan? Whether it's our business, whether it's our family, whether it's government or politics or your church or your religious affiliation, everything revolves around people. And great leadership has to inspire people to be better than they were before. And so for me, when you come at things with love, with compassion, with mercy and grace, you can lead people in the direction that you need them to go and cast that vision, and they'll follow. Without that, leadership really doesn't matter.
Okay. And I have to ask this. I was looking at your website, at your bio, and I found this fascinating, that your four sons, Noah, Jonah, Luke, and Levi, I hope I say that one right, they do a weekly video series called Meredith and Sons, Motivation Monday. So tell me about that.
So it's wild. Our boys in the funeral space, Stan, are more well known than I am, and I've been around for 27 years, as I've talked about. We started that about 5 years ago, and it started out as a weekly ride to school program. And how it came about, my wife had to be away out of town for about a week. And so I had to take our 3 older boys to school every day for a week. And I had never done that. When I was in town, I would always get to the office really early in the morning. So she always drove the boys to school. Here she is, she's out of town, and I've got to get them up, get them dressed, and get them to school. Well, it didn't go so well. And getting 3 young boys, the oldest I think at the time was 10. They were 10, 8, and 6. And the youngest one, he hadn't even gotten into school yet. He was with his mom on her trip out of town. And they were fighting and bickering like crazy in the back seat of my truck. And so that first day, I'm screaming and hollering at them all the way to school. And by the time I drop them off, man, my blood pressure is through the roof and I'm done. Well, the second day starts out the same way. And I'm like, oh, stop, cut it out. We ain't doing this no more. We got a 20-minute ride to school. We're not bickering and fighting. We're going to straighten up right now. Repeat after me. And they said, what? And I said, repeat after me. I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel terrific. And they thought I was crazy, but they did it. And so we did that Wednesday and Thursday. And then by Friday, before we even pulled out of the driveway, my third son, Luke, starts shouting, I feel healthy, I feel happy, I feel terrific. Well, it started changing their mindset, right? I had a sales manager when I got in the insurance business as a young man, would start every meeting that way, make you stand up and shout that. And so that's where it came about. And so that first video was literally us riding down the road on that Friday. And I just had to share all of my Facebook followers that I feel healthy, I feel happy, I feel terrific chant. And so literally our first video is me driving with the 3 boys in the back seat shouting, I feel healthy, I feel happy, I feel terrific, and said, I hope you guys have a healthy, happy, and terrific weekend. And everybody was like, oh, y'all got to do this every day, got us motivated and pumped up. And so we started a weekly series called Motivation Monday, where we teach valuable life lessons to the boys. And of course, it's evolved over time. They've got thousands of followers, and their videos have been seen several million times.
Wow.
And we basically valuable life lessons. And now that they're older, week after next, it'll be 5 years since we started the videos. And so we've done several hundred videos. And now that the oldest, he'll be driving to school in the fall. I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing the series, but anyway, it's been fun. It's been fun to watch them grow as children and learn those valuable topics. But it's been incredibly impressive to see the response that we've gotten from the audience and those that follow them. The impact has been pretty crazy.
And where can people watch it? Is it on YouTube or Facebook, their videos?
Mainly Facebook. We do have a YouTube channel, but we mainly do most of it on Facebook. Meredith and Sons is the Facebook page. And so just in the last couple of months, I've made the boys start doing the videos themselves without me in it. And so that's been an interesting change. All of these years, I would lead the episodes, and now they're having to lead it individually themselves. And so that's been kind of fun to watch them grow in that way too.
That's great. All right, before I let you go, I got to ask you about that painting behind you. I'm fascinated by it. I think it's wonderful just looking at the colors from here. Tell me about that.
I don't know if the audience can actually see that, but it's actually a painting of a young boy. He has a cape that's draped across his front. He's wearing a little mask, and he's got his dog on a leash. And in the corner down here is an inscription that says, "I dream of being a superhero." Now, this painting, what's fascinating about it is it was done by a gentleman by the name of Bill Cox in 2005. And Bill was an agent, a life insurance agent with our former insurance company. And Bill was well up into his 80s when he retired. And instead of retiring, he enrolled in Holmes Community College to get an education because he never graduated from college. And while he was in school, he actually painted this in an art class. And so I was the lucky recipient of the painting and have had it in my office for more than 20 years. And so or almost 20 years. And when I come into the office every morning, it gives me my morning inspiration to know that you're never too old to try something new. You're never too old to expand outside of your comfort zone and to learn something and do something differently. And so it's a little inspirational piece for me that I get to look at every single morning.
That is nice. No, I like it. I just looking at it behind you. All right, Jamie, thank you very much. Thank you again for you and C&J Financial sponsoring our upcoming white paper on the Leadership and Management series. And thanks for joining us today. Great talking to you.
Good talking with you, buddy. Bye-bye.
Okay. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.